Donna, how are you today?
I am pretty good. How about you guys?
We're doing great.
Do you remember that video, Donna?
You know what? I have like a vague recollection, but I definitely remember the song. Tell me a little bit more about what it's like. What is it? What's in it?
It's just a guy running in front of a cop car that's basically a TV screen behind him for 3 minutes.
Is the TV screen kind of got like static on it?
I'll pull it up and I'll get back to you. I'll let Steve do the interview.
Okay, that's really important, Paulie. You get to work on that. Donna, let's talk some basketball. I know you've been in Charlotte covering the men's and women's media days down there. We'll start with the men. Paulie asked me what stood out to me. I think the first thing that stood out to me was Donnie's comment yesterday about, for me, it was a no-brainer to come back. And, there was a lot of speculation from fans. We took it here on the show. I'm sure you got it as well. With your position, people were saying, oh, he's faking injury. There's no way he's coming back. Like, how could he not be back by now? And I think he kind of put that to rest yesterday. So I guess we'll start with your thoughts on Donnie's comments about that and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think everybody around him and everybody around his camp last year said he was not going to go, right? Everybody said that. And so I was sort of surprised. I guess I was living in my own little bubble because I guess I was sort of surprised when people were surprised that he stayed because I don't think we ever had any indication he might go. I was a little surprised yesterday when he was talking about how, people thought it was, the secret mission for him to, pretend he was hurt and miss the rest of the year. I didn't think that either. But there is always, especially nowadays, a mystery when somebody gets hurt because they don't want either NBA guys to know, or although they're going to have physicals at some point anyway, but they just don't want. There's always a shroud of mystery that surrounds a lot of these injuries. And having been a person who broke my fifth metatarsal in May, I was sympathized with him and his waiting plight and all that. So I guess I didn't think that he was going to go. I mean, I guess you just never know. But I never was under the impression that he was going to leave, and I certainly wasn't under the impression that he was faking an injury.
Now you've forced me to ask the follow-up question: is Donna Ditota 100% for the season?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
So not yet. Okay. All right. You're limited to some degree. Okay. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to ask you, he took the option of waiting instead of getting surgery, and I think that kind of played into everybody's, why aren't they telling us, what's going on? Now that you've had it, is it something that you could actually heal from if you don't have a surgery done?
Yes. So that's what happened to me. So I broke my fifth metatarsal at the end of May, and for me it was longer because I'm obviously not an elite athlete. So it was 6 weeks in a boot, and if I had a displaced fracture in it, but that fracture did not mend in those 6 weeks, and I was going to have surgery. So that is a thing. Before this happened to me, I would not have known that, but that is a thing.
Interesting. All right, let's talk about JJ's injury. He obviously has had to deal with something as well. What did he tell you about what he's been through the last year or so, and how does he seem heading into the new season? And, obviously, recently his arm was in a wrap. Is he 100% good to go?
He says he is. I mean, I can't imagine that having your hand with your shooting hand, with your middle finger of your shooting hand, disabled for a couple of weeks or a few weeks is good, in any way. But, he's a guy, he's been around for a long time. And I'm assuming at this point his jump shot is what his jump shot is. And but, you always want to get more reps in. So I think probably missing that time maybe wasn't ideal for him. But he says he's 100%. He's ready to go. He's not wearing any kind of protective device at all on that finger. So, I'm taking him at his word. We still have got, 3 weeks or so to a game or to an exhibition game, whatever. And I think he's good to go. Adrian did not seem at all worried about it.
One name that we kept hearing yesterday pop up on multiple occasions, Donnie in particular brought him up, but his name popped up a few times. That was Tyler Betsy. And, Paulie and I were talking that he's kind of flown under the radar to some degree when you look at the roster and projected starting lineup and, first guys off the bench. I think, we look at if those two freshmen and Anthony and White aren't starting, they're probably going to get a lot of time off the bench. Where does Tyler Betsy fit into this? And have we kind of overlooked him to some degree?
Well, you know what? He's a guy that Syracuse really wanted when they recruited him out of high school. So they have been high on him for a long time. I think they like the fact that he's got good size, that he can score. I think they like a lot of things about him. And, for us, for you and Paulie and me, we haven't seen the team play at all. So I have no idea, honestly, if he's good or if he's not good.
Sure.
But, all we can go by is what the players have told us, and they say he's been really good in practice. So, again, he was a guy I know that they were happy to have, since they really went after him when he was in high school and didn't work out in Cincinnati. And so now here he is in Syracuse. He has got really good size for a wing.
Yeah, 6'8", and does seem like that that prototypical Syracuse forward, right, that we've gotten so used to seeing in this program over the years. Kiyan Anthony's another guy that obviously Adrian Autry and the staff desperately wanted to get for a lot of reasons, and they got him, and he's coming here now. I keep hearing about how Melo and Lala have done such a great job keeping him grounded, and that he's just one of the guys, and that he's going to earn everything he gets, and he fits in with his teammates, so on and so forth. What are your expectations for Kiyan here as a freshman? What are realistic expectations for the fans to kind of come to the season with when it pertains to him?
Well, I kind of feel bad for Kiyan a little bit, because everybody's asking Adrian about Kiyan, right? He's going to get asked for every game, after every place he goes to into a new arena. Somebody's going to ask him about Kiyan, and it's a little bit tough, I think, for a young man who has not played any college basketball to have that burden of expectation, especially since your dad is a basketball Hall of Famer and a guy who carried this program to an NCAA championship. I think he's a really good scorer. He has a lot of work to do on the defensive end. I don't think he was a great defender in high school, because he was a great scorer in high school, and I think it's very hard to be great at both of those things. I don't know. I mean, JJ has said he's been great to work with. They've gotten along really well. He works hard. I think his body has gotten a little bit bigger, so that was an issue too. Like, can he get in the lane and not get bumps and all that? But I think they have a lot of options this year. I think they have a lot of scoring options, and I think he's going to be one of those options. I don't know. I don't have great expectations about him, because I've been in this business a really long time, and I understand how hard it is for freshmen to have great seasons. Like, I think Donnie had a great year last year in the limited time he played, but I think nobody really paid too much attention to him outside of us in Syracuse.
Yeah, Kiyan put on 15 pounds apparently, according to Adrian Autry, since he's been on campus. That's certainly a good sign.
The freshman 15,
but in a good way, Paul. I think this was in a good way. The preseason projections that we've been seeing, I'm sure you've been seeing many of the same ones. We've seen as high as 6th in the conference. We've seen as low as 12th. The answer might be somewhere in the middle. I mean, what are you expecting? Like, where would you put this team, I guess, in the pecking order?
This is something I am absolutely awful at. Like, I've not seen them play a minute of basketball. So for me to sort of project where they might be is really hard for me. People ask me all the time, like, do you think they'll be better? Do you think they'll be good? Yeah, I think they'll be better, just because I think they're much more athletic. I think they're bigger at positions they need to be bigger at. And I think you're going to be able to score. My big thing, and Adrian was asked about this a lot yesterday, was, can they guard anybody? And they haven't been able to guard anybody the last few years, and that is a huge problem. I mean, if you're depending on your offense to score 80, 85 points a game to win games, it's going to be a tough season because there's going to be defenses that are going to lock down your guys, are going to slow down the pace, and all this stuff to detract from your shooters. So, I mean, the big thing for me is, can they guard anybody, and can they rebound? And I think they're going to be – I think they've got a ton of scores. I think the scoring is not going to be a problem. And they got a true point guard who I think is very good.
With the way the schedule breaks down, we'll be able to tell if they're better, but the record might not be, where you want it to be and still be better. How important is it to get at least one win in that Las Vegas tournament?
They have to get at least a win. They have to get at least one win there. I mean, if they can win 2 games, that's phenomenal. But they have to win at least one game there. I think just to preserve the thought that you can play in the postseason, you have to beat a really good team at a neutral site or on their home court, and they're not playing any true road games this year, except for Drexel's really not a true road game. So I think they have to win a game there. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, they didn't catch any breaks in that, when they put that tournament together for him. Red had to be field. Like, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough field. I think anybody who you got was going to be a challenge. Yeah.
Yep.
What else stood out to you yesterday, Donna? We haven't talked a lot about, the comments from Red yesterday. Anything stand out from Coach Autry yesterday to you?
Well, I mean, I think at this time of year, everybody is excited about their team, right? There hasn't been a game that's been played. There hasn't been a guy that's complaining because he's not playing. Everything is great right now. Everybody's getting along. There's a lot of unity. There's a lot of rawness going on about the season. And I think he touched upon a lot of that he feels like this team is really connected. But the true test is going to come when they play Houston and then when they play Kansas. Those are true tests of how good your team is and how together they are and how intact they are and how connected they are once you get into really tough games. And, but I think he does think this team is much more athletic. I think he thinks they're deeper. And I just think, I think that they had more money to spend this year. And I think that he feels like they spent it the way they need to spend it.
Does certainly seem like a better roster. Let's talk about the women. I know you were there a couple days ago as well when the women spoke. What do we need to know about this women's team coming off? They took a step back last year after Deasia Fair graduated, and now they're looking to get back to that level. What stood out to you from Coach Jack and the ladies?
Well, the thing that was interesting to me is they have 11 players that are 6 feet or taller. That is a very big roster. And, they lacked size last year. I think, frankly, they just lacked talent last year. And one of the things Felicia and I talked about was, they got rev share money this year. And so, and she asked John Wildhack for some advice about how to spend that rev share money because they didn't have that much of it before that. So I think the money allowed her to get players that she didn't think she was ever going to be able to get. And I think they've got some talented players. I mean, they've got, players from high major conferences that have come here who have had success at their previous programs. She's very excited about a center that they got from Japan. Sophie Burrows is back who can really shoot the ball. Layla Fija, who was at Media Day, was a phenomenal scorer in Michigan and apparently a very a lockdown defender. So I think they're bigger, and I think that they just have more talent than they had last year.
Anything else, Donna, before we let you go that's on your mind about SU men's or women's basketball?
Well, I mean, I think both teams are probably going to be better this year. And again, I hate to make any kind of predictions before I see a single minute of basketball, but it just seems like the roster composition of both of those teams is better. So I think if you're a fan of the men or if you're a fan of the women, I think it's going to be better this season.
I like it. Optimism. Go ahead, Paulie.
Dirk Commissar. The guy's just running in front of there's no static. He's just running in front of traffic and cop cars.
I think we all collectively need to watch it at some point to remind us.
I have it.
As soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm going to call it up on my computer. I cannot wait to watch it.
I have it. Look, I'm 53, so I don't know how many people are going to remember this, but they used to have like video places at the mall where you could go and like shoot your own music videos. Do you remember
that? I don't remember this.
I'm older than you, and I don't remember that.
So, yeah, there used to be places, and you could go, like, karaoke, and they would let you make a music video at the mall.
I don't remember this.
Yeah. No. As a matter of fact, it was right next to Kaufman's it was Carousel back then.
Carousel, yeah.
Yeah, so you could do it. It's very similar to one of those that they would allow you to make for yourself.
So very low budget.
That's going to be the highlight of my day at this point. I can't wait to get on there.
And I must be the only idiot that went to one of those and made a music video with my friends.
I think so.
That's why they're not in business anymore.
Donna, be well. Speedy recovery with your injury there, and hopefully we see you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
You as well. Donna Ditota from Syracuse.com joining us. We'll take a time out here. We'll check in on the market. We'll wrap up hour number 1 next on